Hey guys, welcome to Unbiased Rugby. I thought I'd do my last show for the June Internationals, just summing up all the teams that I saw, the players that I liked, and just talk about the world rankings a little bit, which teams improved, which teams were pretty stagnant, and which teams went a bit backwards. But first, today's my wedding anniversary. My wife's put up with me for 14 years, so I'm gonna say I'm just looking forward to it, going out for dinner. So love my wife, but like I said, she has put up with my stuff for 14 years. She lets me watch rugby on the weekend, so all's good. But let's talk about the June Internationals. I enjoyed the June Internationals this year. It's quite nice, you know. After the Six Nations, there was quite a bit of a gap, and it was nice to actually have the Northern Hemisphere sides coming down. I think overall, I think the North scored more than the South. I think a lot more Northern teams actually made a lot of success from their tours, especially considering that they've had quite a long season and that they're at the end of their season, so the guys are quite tired, and a lot of them put in astronomical performances. So what I'm gonna go do is I'm gonna talk about the sides. I've given them a rating bit from -5 to 5. How the rating works is if a team's pretty stagnant or it stays about the same, it's 0. If they've moved up, they've got up pluses, and if they've gone backwards, they go minuses. So it may be a team that's done really well, but they were expected to do well, so they're still going to have quite a low score. It's all about how the teams have improved, not where they are in the rankings. But I'll go through the rankings quickly. Obviously, New Zealand's way out in the lead. Ireland's next. The next 5 spots are pretty. There's like less than 2 points between them. So lots of chopping and changing in those things. It's quite amazing that 2nd, 3rd, and 4th are Northern Hemisphere sides. So like I said, the Northern Hemisphere sides are doing really well. So I'm going to go through it. I think the team for me that had the most success this tour was probably Ireland. I've given them a +4, +3, +4, round about there. I know they lost their first game, but they still pulled a really historic series out of the bag against Australia. Considering Australia is an extremely strong side, so I thought they were very impressive. So I've given them a +4. Next team that I rate that's done pretty well has been Wales. I've given them a +2. They actually won all their games going. And a lot of people can say, well, they played a second string South African side. They played Argentina, but at the end of the day, Test rugby is Test rugby, and anything can happen on the day. So they've won it. They're 3rd in the world rankings, and so I think over this June series they've done pretty well. So I've given them a +2. New Zealand and South Africa, I've given a +1. South Africa maybe a bit less than New Zealand. I'm not, and this is no reflection on how good New Zealand is. It's just I just didn't think they had the competition to be able to honestly see that they have improved. It was expected that they were going to win the games by 30-40, and that's what they did. So for me, yes, they're still the best in the world, but I can't say that there was an improvement from the start of the June International to the end of the June International. So that's why I put them there. South Africa, I've also put it +1. We did lose 2 of the games, and we won another 2. So, but there's still a bit of growth, and there's still a bit of you can still see things are happening. So that's why I've done that. Australia, I've put 0 to +1, so 0.5. I think Australia have got an incredibly good side. I think they've got some amazing players. I think Ireland were just a lot stronger. So I've put that they haven't gone backwards, but they haven't really grown. The same for England. Yes, they did win eventually one game, I think, but they're coming off quite a. They lost 2 games in the June Internationals. So yeah, 0. maybe even 0 to -1, but I'm going to leave it at 0 because I still think they're a class outfit. France, -1, 0. I was thinking about it. I'm not sure. Maybe they didn't have all their players, but yeah, I don't think they've progressed much further. Scotland, I've done the same, -1, 0. I know that there was a huge big drumming against Argentina in the end, but they did lose to the USA. So I don't. It's a bit of hit and miss. So I have put them at -1, 0. The team that has disappointed me the most of the tier 1 nations is obviously Argentina. I've put them at -4, which is quite, which is maybe not. Some people may think it's a bit harsh, but they've lost their coach. They lost all their games, so that's really like literally going super backwards. So I'd like to see, and obviously they've gone out of the. I'm just looking here. Yeah, they're in 10th spot. So that's a lot, you know. Yeah, they're in 10th spot. That's 10th in the world rankings. Yeah, Fiji have just gone ahead of them. Japan are very, very close behind. So yeah, it's a bit of a mixed bag for them. Those are my rankings that how I see them. You know, what do you guys think? Who do you think got the most success from the junior internationals? I'm going to maybe talk about the players that I liked for the series, or from all the games. I didn't watch all the games, so maybe you guys have got other players in mind. But I'm just going to see from watching the game, you know, people that stuck in my mind. So, Tadhg Furlong, what an exceptional prop, like literally world class. You know, I've seen some tight heads in the past, you know, some really good tight heads, but that guy is just on another level. He had a game where he had the most run meters, you know, a prop with the most run meters. He's solid. He's built really well as a prop. He knows how to scrum. He's a ball carrier. I think he's the modern example of a traditional prop. That's quite a strange way of saying it, because he does the basics exceptionally well, and he brings something special to the game. Next, I'm going to say it would be David Pocock. I haven't seen him for a few years, and jeepers, the guy is just phenomenal. Yeah, I know he's getting a bit older, but flipping hell, that guy is just. I think Australia are a much better side with him in it. There are a few other players from Australia that I liked. Beale, Israel Folau. You know, these are game-changing kind of players. But Pocock is he's just phenomenal at the front. And rugby is the kind of game where you play from the front. You may have noticed that I have chosen quite a few forwards. The other player that stood out for me was probably Cody Taylor. I think he stepped up. I think he did his job really well for New Zealand. So that's another one. There's also Scott Barrett did really, really well. But it's hard for Scott Barrett because he's got two exceptional players in front of him. He would never play a flank. Like South Africa, they push their good blocks to play flanks. So, because he's not going to knock out Squire. So it's a tough call for him. But at the end of the day, you know, he can finish out games. New Zealand are seriously lucky to have their third option as a lock is Scott Barrett. That is just phenomenal. Another player from New Zealand who I really like is Rieko Ioane. Yes, I know, like a lot of the moves start in the midfield, but you know, you've got to be at the right place at the right time, and you've got to be able to finish, and that's why that's why I think he's superb. Now these other two, I think they go hand in hand. Conor Murray and Johnny Sexton. I think they're both exceptional rugby players, but when they are together, they are on another level. It's similar for me with Beauden Barrett and Aaron Smith. You know, it's a kind of combination. It's just like made in heaven. So I just think those two, Johnny Sexton just knows how to control a game, and they are world class. They got the BMT. So I'm looking forward to seeing New Zealand Ireland eventually play, because I think it's going to be classic rugby. They've got excellent. Both teams have excellent forwards. Both teams have excellent coaches. Both teams have great decision makers. So yeah, I think those two stood out for me. From South Africa, there were a few hit and misses in some of the games. I think Achilles Neyman did seriously well playing at lock. You got 3 tests in this thing. I also feel for him because I think Franco Mostert is probably a more natural choice going forward because of his. But he's obviously going. He looks like he's leaving. He's going to go play at Gloucester because he's got his line calls right. He's an exceptional footballer. And then obviously Eben Etzebeth, so and Lotte Jager. So it's tough, but you know it's great that we have options, and I think he did exceptionally well. But I think the standout player for me from South Africa is probably Dwayne Vermeulen. He literally is for me on top 5, top 10 rugby players in the world, and I don't think. I think he's going to go again. I think he's going to go play up north. I just don't think South Africa have the kind of money to be able to pay him. So yeah, you can't blame the guy for going, and he will still be available for the World Cup. But yeah, just in general, I enjoyed all the things, the series. You know, where do you think the team stood? Which player stood out for you? Which games did you like? Overall, I enjoyed the series. I still think New Zealand need a bit more of a challenge. I'm hoping that they'll get it in the Rugby Championship. I'm looking forward to their end of year tour to see how well they are doing against some strong opposition. Ireland aren't the pretenders; they're the real deal. Yes, six nation champions. European champions, Pro 14 champions, you know they've got it all. So and now they've obviously won a tour down south. So they're the real deal. You can't knock that at all. Argentina, yeah, there's not much more I can say about Argentina. I don't know. There's something fundamentally wrong in Argentinian rugby, and you know it's similar to South African rugby a couple of years ago. There's something fundamentally wrong at the core. Something's just not right. Yeah, something's just something drastic needs to change. And I know South African rugby, we had to really take a hard look at ourselves and realise where we stood in the world. From a South African point of view, I was very happy we won the series. It looks like there's a game plan. It looks like we have a coach that's passionate. So yeah, overall, I'm great. Like I said, I've enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to Super Rugby starting again next week. Malcolm Marx and Warren Whiteley are back. So yeah, I think it's going to be a great end of the Super Rugby season. But overall, I'm super happy with the June internationals. Let's roll on to the next thing. But yes, guys, thanks a lot for tuning in. If you like my channel, please like it, please share it, and I'll chat to you guys soon. Cheers, bye.